The next track is about gaming. And I want to just do a short survey here. So who here has played in their life Pac-Man? Okay, some people. Who here has played Counter-Strike? Okay, more people, more gamers. Who here has ever played Angry Birds? Okay, almost everyone. So this is why we have this track here. There's a trend, and gaming is sort of coming to our lives, and it changes the way we interact with our smartphones, with our tablets. And we asked ŽILVINAS and ŠARūNAS LEDAS, game developers from Lithuania, to try and cover the trends that we're seeing here. And also, after that, we'll have two developers from Outlander Studios who will talk about their game and their experience. So please, brothers LEDAS.
Oh, click. Hello. So what we're going to talk about is gamification and what you can learn from it and how can you apply the knowledge in your own businesses in case you aren't game developers. So first I'm going to introduce ourselves. I am ŠARūNAS and this is my brother ŽILVINAS, and we're from Tag of Joy. We're working on games, mobile games, computer games, and also trying to find new gamified experiences, augmented reality experiences, while making promo apps, and all the things that are visual and are interesting to a lot of people because it's just beautiful and fun. And this is some of our work examples. So as you can see, everything that we do is kind of gamified and visual. So let's start with a riddle. What app developed in Lithuania do you think is the most downloaded app overall? Who knows? No. Nobody knows? No. The most popular app all over the world. Okay, I don't think anybody knows. So it is 101 games by Nordcurrent. And it actually has over 30 million downloads. So I think that's quite amazing, and it exceeds all the other apps that the Lithuanians have developed so far. I can also mention that there are quite a lot of game development studios in Lithuania, and you can see the names of most of them in this slide. So the game development is going on in Lithuania, and it's getting better and more popular, and that's not because the games are boring or something. And I can mention that there is a Lithuanian Game Developers Association being established right now. So if you'd like to join it or just have some questions, you can pop your email into this one that you can see in the slide, or just contact us. So let's get back to the topic. So how big is the global game industry? It is quite big. As you can see in the slide, it exceeds cinema ticket sales about twice, and it exceeds music record sales about 3 or 4 times. And it is the most popular market in the world. And as you can see in the second bar, there are mobile app revenue, from which the green part is mobile games. So from all the mobile apps that are sold on the app stores, most of them are games. Not in the number of the sales, but from the money made from them. So I think it's quite a big thing in general, and that's why we're analyzing it right now. So why is that? It's because games attract, games engage, and games retain players. So I guess all of you need that in your own businesses, whether you're making games or if you're making an app, a utility app, or just a regular business, a store or something like that. Everybody needs to attract, engage, and retain users and people. So I think we can learn a lot from that. And how can we do that? We can do it by gamification. We can gamify a business and a utility app or anything else. And gamification is basically the use of game thinking and game mechanics to improve user engagement, return on investment, data quality, timeliness, and learning. Oh, and I can add that in this presentation, by saying players, we're going to mean customers, users, or anything else which uses your business. Yeah, so to gamify something, you first have to learn your player psychology and motivation. Then you have to understand the player types, which is what people are and what they like. And then you have to know the elements that could be used to gamify your business or app or whatever. So we're going to look at those points. So firstly, from the point of player psychology and motivation, I can mention that there are quite a lot of things that can be added to gamify something. So for example, if you add socializing, if you add something that helps the users to collect things or kill something or hunt or just nurture and grow things, that helps to make your business or app more interesting, and it gamifies your business. Now, from these points, we can deduct and just point out 4 types of players. So there are killers, there are achievers, there are socializers, sorry, and there are explorers. Those all groups are quite different, and they search for different things in life and in businesses, in apps, and in games. And what do they look for? For example, killers try to harass others, they try to cheat, they try to hack something, and that gives them fun. Achievers, on the other hand, they want to win, they want a challenge, they want to show off in front of others. The socializers, they try to comment, give something to others, and just like everything. And explorers are those who try to curate something, they try to vote, review, and participate in all of the stuff and just explore everything. So if you're trying to gamify your business, you can look at those 4 groups. You can identify which one you're targeting, and then you can add the actions to your business or your app from the list in this slide or similar ones. And then you can also broaden your audience by adding other actions and then targeting other groups of people. And what an average person is, it is this girl in the slide, which has around 65% of a socializer, around 65% of an explorer, around 50% of an achiever, and about 25% of a killer. So if you know this statistic, then you can know what you're trying to target and what can help your business or app. Now let's see some basic elements that can gamify something. So there are points, levels, leaderboards, collectibles, challenges and quests, onboarding, and engagement loops. And my brother ŽILVINAS will tell in detail about those.
So hello again. And first we start with points. So basically when you make any number visible, you enable a game. For example, social networking score in Facebook, how many friends you have in Twitter, how many followers, cash score, how many cash you have on your bank account or in your pocket, and other composite scores, for example, economic freedom index and so on. All those things are some kind of a score, and all the participants of one or another game, they try to compete and get more points. what makes you can make a good things out of a lot of activities that gives points, because you can see how player interacts with the system, you can see how they gain points, how they don't interact, and you can design for those interactions that you want them to do. So there are a lot of point types. We'll look through 5 of them. For example, experience points, redeemable points, currency, skill points, social points. Experience points, they are usually earned directly by the player's actions, and they are used to track and reward certain activities. They only get up, and they show how persistent a player is. Redeemable points, they also are earned only by player's actions, and they can go up and down. If a player cashes in some amount of point, he can get some goods or services. Currency, it can go up or down. It can be purchased with real money usually, and it can acquire usually exclusive services or goods. Skill points are earned by interacting with a game or a system, and they show certain mastery of certain activity of the game. And social points are earned by the actions of other players, and those points can be a proxy for various things, for example, quality, reputation, influence, and it helps you track and reward social actions, various social actions. So next, levels. What are levels good for? They indicate progress, they set pacing, give status and rewards. You can divide your system, your task into more manageable quantities. And a good example is LinkedIn and profile strength. And if a new player joins LinkedIn, he's a beginner, he has low profile strength, it's prominently displayed on the website, and it has a link, improve your profile strength. You can click on it and enter a new level. You can try to write some things on your profile, and after some time you get an all-star rating, and you just improve yourself and you go to the next level. If you have points, you can enable leaderboards. The main purpose of a leaderboard is to make comparisons. The leaderboards are good for achievers because they see how good they tend to be among others. And there are 2 main types of leaderboards. The simplest one is a global leaderboard, where you rate all the players. It can be sliced. For example, you can show only players from Lithuania or only players from the past week or so on. And another type of leaderboard is social leaderboards. It's different in the way that a player sees his friends or his colleagues or someone he knows in front of him and behind him. So you can enable some social actions, for example, ping him, send him requests, send him some kind of gift or something else. And another great thing is collectibles. It can be various things, for example, badges. It can be collections of badges. It can be decorations for the player profile, and it can be other items. Collectibles are good for signaling status. They can mark completion of goals. For example, if a player completes some kind of quest or a level, you can give him some kind of badge. They satisfy desire to collect, and they can be surprising. For example, a good example is Foursquare, when sometimes you get some kind of surprising badges because you just checked in somewhere and you don't really know for what kind of check-ins you get that badge. And those collectibles can just be aesthetically and visually appealing and just be pleasant to look at. Challenges and quests. They are similar to levels, but they can be done in a different way. They can guide and motivate player. For example, if you have some kind of a tutorial with different challenges and different things to do. You can just slice and show different actions to the player and engage him in the first minutes. Also, challenges and quests create intrigue and structure, so a player always knows what he must do next. And it's a good thing to have always at least one challenge for the player to do next. So if he completes one, you should give at least one another. And it's a good thing to have 2 or 3. Okay, next, onboarding. All of us need new players, new users, and an act of bringing a new player to your system is called onboarding. And basic pattern should be you should give him something to do. You should reward him for it, and only afterwards you should offer to join or register. And what can we learn from the recent casual games is that in the first minutes you should only slowly reveal the complexity of your system. You should show only basic things, only basic interactions, and you should reward and reinforce positively player. You should remove all opportunities to fail, no losing scenario in the first 5 minutes, and you should gather all the information you can. Next good thing is engagement loops. What can you learn from it? You can learn how the player, you should learn how the player engages with the system, how he leaves it, and what brings him back again. So a basic loop looks like this. First of all, player re-engages with the system. For example, he has a new task, a mission or a game to play. He completes it. He gets some points, some stats, awards, or some encouraging messages. And then he feels motivated. He feels pride or something. And this is a good point to show him some kind of share it, encourage your friends and something. And after that, you can gain more players. As an example is a Foursquare. First of all, a player checks in. He earns badges. Then he feels surprise or delight. And as a result, it encourages him to share it with his friends. His friends see that he got something interesting. They check in, and it encourages users to play a game. So, to recap, first of all, you should learn your player psychology and motivation. You should understand player types to target most of them, not only one type. And only then you can try to build on those basic elements and gamify your system. But one more important thing is that gamification is not only slapping some badges or adding some points or leaderboards. You should integrate it from the ground up, because if you just add some achievements or some badges, it won't help you into your business. And thank you. If you have some questions, I believe we have 2.5 minutes left.
How do you determine your player's psychology? How do you determine if he is achiever, killer, or how do you draw this average?
For example, you can look at those things that you saw, like those actions. For example, if you encourage players to like something, then you encourage socializers to join your app or your website. If you encourage them to rate or to do something else, you encourage other types of people. So if you have only actions like for socializers, so you mostly attract only socializers. So the good thing would be to look at other actions and to integrate other opportunities to your website, to your product or something, to expand. And you can't determine exactly what kind of people you have. I believe that you will have the people that you build your product for. So if you build your product only for socializers, you only will have socializers. Another question?
There's one question in the back.
You gave a lot of good tips about the game, and I wanted to ask, which existing game do you think best implements those ideas?
Well, basically, most of the games implement those ideas because they're the main ideas that all the games need. So those points were basically meant for businesses that are not games, so that they could at least target one of those categories of people. Normal games, on the other hand, they usually target most of the people, mostly all four categories of people. So I think all the most popular games target them best.
Yeah, one good example is World of Warcraft. It has all the things for all the type of peoples. You can kill, you can explore, you can collect, you can be the best one character in a region or in the whole game. So it basically targets all of them. Social games such as Zynga's ones, they target achievers, socializers, maybe not killers, but it's like different kind of game, so it targets different people.
There's one more question here.
You mentioned World of Warcraft as an example of gamification, that they are using a lot of it. But I saw an example, I think on YouTube maybe, an interview with a developer from World of Warcraft team. And they said that gamification for them is just something for scientific people just to, I don't know, measure stuff about games, but they don't really care about it. They just do things what they think are fun, and they just doing games, and that's it, and don't think about gamification at all. So how do you think, is it really so important for a game developer to think about gamification, or it's just do what is fun for him?
Yeah, for game developers it's different because maybe I you maybe misinterpreted my words because I didn't say that World of Warcraft is gamified. It's a good example of what can you take from a game and to adapt to your system. Because basically gamification is for other apps, for other services, not for games. Because games have it from the base, from the...
Yeah, because game is gamified from the very beginning. It doesn't have to be gamified once more. It is a game. And gamification is meant for other apps and businesses to make them better. Because you can learn from games and then make your business better, similar to games. That's the idea of gamification.
Have you ever thought how gamified functions can be applied for Lithuania's government or educational system to make it more engagement and more fun and more close to the people?
Well, government is probably the worst case of gamification because it has a lot of paperwork and stuff like that. So it just can't be changed much. But for example, schools and stuff like that, where you have education and things like that, you can gamify the process easily by adding, for example, educational games, or simply by adding more interesting marks to the students and stuff like that. So the processes can be gamified, but the government itself probably not.
Yeah, for example, you could add the most simple but not most efficient would be to add some kind of awards, achievements for example, for students. If you get 5 times straight the best mark, for example, you get some kind of achievement, some kind of badge or something. That could motivate some of the people. Another thing would be, for example, and it's happening already in schools, to have group exercises. It's better for those that like to interact because you can discuss in groups, you can solve problems in groups, not yourself alone at your desk. So it's happening, but it's not that in that scale that we maybe would like it to be.
Thank you for your answers.
Okay, so thank you for your answers, Šarūnas, ŽILVINAS.
Thank you.